Call the meeting to order. We'll do the meeting roll call at this moment. Mayor Pro Tem, are you here?
Present.
Councilman Reinbark, you here? Councilmember Anderson, are you here? Councilmember Barnett, are you here? Councilmember Spears, are you here?
Here.
Councilmember Waddell, are you here? And the chair is here. Everybody's here and accounted for. We'll start this two presentations tomorrow evening. Consent agenda, C1 is approval of the minutes. C2 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to apply for a port security grant from the United States Department of Homeland Security in the amount of $559,717. C3 is a resolution in support of the Soul Smart Silver designation. C4 is a resolution authorizing award of a construction contract to Monteith Construction Corporation for the Convention Center FEMA scope repairs in the amount of $577,000. Public hearings, PH1 is an ordinance directing the housing inspector to vacate, close, and repair or demolish a dwelling at 1009 Chestnut Street as unfit for human habitation pursuant to Article 5, Chapter 16 of the City Code, and directing that a notice be placed thereon prohibiting its use or occupancy. This was continued from our November 16, 2021 meeting. PH2 is another ordinance directing the housing inspector to vacate, close, and repair or demolish a dwelling at 3227 Chalmers Drive as unfit for human habitation pursuant to Article 5, Chapter 16 of the City Code, and directing that a notice be placed thereon prohibiting its use or occupancy. PH3A is an ordinance making appropriations to the general fund for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2022. This is a public hearing only. PH3B is an ordinance making appropriations to the grant projects, financial plans, enterprise funds, debit service funds, and special tax district for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2022. Again, this is a public hearing only. PH3C is an ordinance making appropriations to the capital projects funds for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2022, public hearing only. And PH4, ordinance amending the various chapters of the City of Wilmington fee schedule for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2022. Again, this is a public hearing only. Those items are all pertaining to the budget. PH5 is a resolution authorizing the award of a professional services contract to Wilmington Downtown Incorporated in the amount of $562,692 for the services provided in the Municipal Services District, and authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement on behalf of the city. And then last item is reports, RP1's Council's Appointments Committees for Boards and Commissions. Councilmember Charlie Reinbark, who's the chairman of that board, will be giving us a report. So that concludes the regular agenda. We're leaving now. Mr. Caudle?
Mr. Mayor, we'd like to back up to one item on here, the Soul Smart designation. We've got a very short video we'd like to show you for that designation, if you don't mind.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
All across America, communities are using solar energy to save money on electricity bills, reduce greenhouse gas pollution, and build healthier and more resilient communities. SoulSmart is a national program that works with local governments at the town, city, and county level to help remove obstacles to solar energy growth and encourage solar development. SoulSmart is led by the Solar Foundation and the International City-County Management Association. It is funded by the U.S. Department of Energy Solar Energy Technologies Office.
Southwest Virginia has always been Virginia's energy producing region. Traditionally in the past it has been coal and natural gas, but as we transition to the future, solar has to be a part of that component as we move forward.
The SoulSmart program helped the Village of Schaumburg achieve its goal by providing resources that we could use to give information to the public. They helped us update our solar energy code. They also provided education for the village's employees, and they additionally helped to simplify our permitting process, making it easier for folks to install solar energy.
By driving local solar adoption in your community, there are incredible economic development impacts, from local job creation to savings on electric bills. We've seen here in Philadelphia that for every 15 residential solar installations, one new solar job is created.
Homeowners and business owners are both seeing reductions in their energy bills. And there are other environmental benefits, such as cleaner air and the reduced dependence on fossil fuels.
We know that growing businesses want to have solar powering their businesses. So we need to be a solar-friendly region to be able to attract those businesses.
By pursuing SolSmart designation, your community will have access to best practices from across the country for reducing soft cost of solar.
All municipalities and counties are eligible to join the SolSmart program. To learn more, visit solsmart.org.
Thank you, folks. We also have, as an after-agenda item today, a presentation on the Greenville Loop Road project, not only the multi-use trail, but the sidewalk as well. Mike Naklicki will do that presentation for us. Jason Pace is going to do that project.
Tony,
That
we
update
have
for us.
a
Tony.
question here.
Yes, sir.
Can I ask him a quick question about the SolSmart thing? Just
Yes, sir.
kind of origins and is it a federal program? Is it a private organization that basically has just become the standard, or how would you describe it? What's its origins and who backs it?
It's a program sponsored by the Department of Energy. It's funded through a grant program, but it is a nationally recognized program, kind of from the federal level. There's over
So its roots are in the come out of the
correct,
federal government.
Correct. All about helping to implement solar across the country. There's over 400 communities across the country now. And at the State Energy Conference this year, there was a number of North Carolina communities, including Wilmington, that were recently recognized for receiving the designation. So
I guess it sounds like a couple of the major things would be, helping with make it easier for people to do it, basically. Somebody's going to kind of scrape, one of their functions is they kind of scrape the code, our code, and try to figure out ways to make it easier to implement, and job training for folks that, to help, build folks that do, what's the right word?
Yeah.
Train people to do that.
I think
install it.
I think supporting the creation of job training, and whether that's at local technical college level, but certainly supporting solar businesses in the area by reducing those soft costs, looking at the permitting and inspection process, as well as our planning and zoning ordinances to make it easier for solar projects to get started.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem?
I think it's great, but a question. When the city's building new buildings, like the Parks and Rec thing that we're building out on River Road and the new MLK gym, are we trying to use this technology?
Yeah, we're certainly looking at implementing renewable solar energy on any of the new facilities that are under construction. I know we've looked at that at both MLK Center as well as the new Parks and Rec facility that's in the design process. So yeah, those are
Looking at it and doing it are two different things.
I know the MLK was the budget was a concern, already some budget overruns, so we were at least going to be making the facility solar ready. But we can also do things like looking at some grant opportunities to help offset some of those costs.
Wouldn't the cost-benefit ratio over a period of time work out?
It would if you're looking at the lifespan of the facility, yes.
It seems like we would be able to set a good example.
Agreed. Yeah, if we look at beyond just that initial cost of construction and the lifespan of the building, the utility offsets, as well as all the other benefits from solar energy, those are certainly some of the benefits we're considering as we're looking at all of these new construction or renovation projects.
Okay, good. I hope we continue to move forward on that and move in the direction of doing that and moving to solar on the city facilities. Thank you very much.
Mr. Rodenberg?
City has always, I always thought, set a good example with LEED qualified buildings whenever possible. And I've seen that in the new office building that I'm in is has incorporated all those things. But there's much that people don't know about electric cars and solar energy. I know we've got a new company coming up here on South Front Street, the other side of the bridge approach, that that's their whole focus. When you mentioned the cost overruns and what have you on certain construction, is solar from day one, is it more expensive than traditional construction? When you incorporate solar into a project, does that add much to it? There's so many questions that I have.
Sure.
It obviously begs for some type of a 1-hour class or something on how you do it. Can you take a building, an existing building, how expensive or troublesome is it to convert it to solar after it's built, those kinds of things?
Yeah, certainly less expensive to do it from the start, implement it right into the initial design of the building, as opposed to going back and having to, put in additional conduit or something like that. So.
But is it more expensive from the get-go?
It's certainly going to add some cost to as code building. But again, if we look beyond that initial cost of construction, for the lifespan of the building ownership, that's where the significant cost savings are going to come in.
Thank you.
As well as reducing your energy burden. Yes, sir.
Typically, when does the ROI catch up with a new built building with solar? I mean, is there some sort of span when you actually get some return on that investment?
I recently saw for like residential homes that it's in that 7-year period. 7 years for residential. For commercial, it really all depends on the size of the system that's being put in. And that's such a variety across, commercial construction.
Yeah. Okay.
Tom?
Yes, sir.
Mayor and Council, I just want to make a comment regarding the Parks Bond. If you recall, that was a 2016. The vision and the scope for those projects actually started around 2014, 2015. At that point in time, we did not have clean energy or renewable energy as a focus for our facilities. Consequently, those project scopes did not include such investment. Cost overruns is probably a misnomer. We already had scope creep on the MLK. We certainly can, and so solar ready is something that we did. Regarding the parks maintenance facility, also that was in the CIP over 5 years ago, at a time in which the focus had not been. Going forward, we believe that the adoption of the Soul Smart program will give us a focus that will begin including renewable energy as a component in all of our facility, at least as an option. But at this point in time, it's not that we didn't think about it. It was not one of our funding priorities.
So, Tom, Soul Smart is, I guess, similar to what many years ago was LEED architecture. So
Right.
You're buying into this Soul Smart, you're basically looking at it from a perspective this is kind of our lead architecture for solar or alternative methods of energy.
Well, I think, the way I look at it, LEEDs, which is through the U.S. Green Building Council, as I recall, been around about 20 years. This is another facet or evolution of what I would call energy efficient building design, and the renewable energy component needs to be something we begin to consider, but we're tiptoeing in it. We already have a couple of facilities that we've built that have renewable energy. The Cinema Drive Fire Station, as I recall, as well as the stormwater maintenance facility off 16th and 17th. So going forward, I think there's an opportunity for us to pursue more opportunities, but right now, the two facilities that were mentioned were not anticipated to have a renewable energy component.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Next, Tony.
Jason Pace will give us an overview of the Greenville Loop Road project.
Good morning, Council. This is a pedestrian improvement status report. This is a project that came on board probably late last year from citizens around the Shenwood Road neighborhood, and the proximity of that neighborhood is very close to Bradley Creek Elementary School. So right now, they have a sidewalk. There's a sidewalk that runs on the north side of Greenville Loop Road. And the parents have to cross all their kids there at Shenwood Road, really. And obviously everybody realizes the traffic on Greenville Loop Road, 17,000 cars a day, and a lot of that's obviously in the morning traffic. And so we're looking at some possible solutions on getting them to school a little safer here. We do have I think Tony mentioned a trail project that's going to be on the south side of the road up to the elementary school. Then it's going to switch around the driveway of the elementary school and then be on the north side. So that really doesn't help this situation for Shenwood neighborhood. And there's other neighborhoods that are connected to Shenwood down there. So we're looking at to just go ahead and construct a sidewalk on the south side from Shenwood all the way to Old Military, where we'd pick up an existing sidewalk that's already there and then cross the children there at the signalized intersection, and it will be a signalized crosswalk early next year after we finish that trail project. So engineering was tasked to start looking at this project. We'll get into the funding here in a little bit, but in-house design, we wanted to start, get it surveyed, start looking at design so we can start getting some real numbers to it, because obviously everything, tight budgets and things, we're just trying to figure out where this could fall in the FY23 budget. So we've walked the corridor, surveyed it, kind of looked at some different alternatives. Really, there's two obvious ones: either build curb and gutter and build it on the back of the road there, right along the road, or put it on the back side of this grass swale that exists along the road. This is a very tight corridor, so putting the curb and gutter down the side of the road, which sounds easy, especially looking at it from the surface. There's a 20-inch force main that CFPUA installed there years ago. There's 12-inch water line. Obviously you got the power poles. So moving utilities would end up costing probably more than $500,000, to be honest with you. So we looked at really a greener solution would be putting it back behind the ditch, the grass swale there. But obviously the impacts there, you start getting into some of the privacy fences that are along that existing corridor, and then some of the vegetation. I didn't see any large champion trees, but there was a couple 8-inch diameter trees and then some shrubs that were used to buffer some of those homes. I think there's 6 homes between this stretch. So the impacts is a little in the landscape and then resetting some shadow privacy fences. So we're actually looking at the option 2. Option 1 I wouldn't say it's not feasible, but just financially, and it's really not the safest option, to be honest with you. Having kids walking right on the back of the curb on a 5-foot, 6-foot sidewalk's doesn't feel the best on a 17,000 cars a day type facility. So we've went to 30% plans now. We're starting into 60. And for now, we're right around 6% plans. We've got an estimate together, and we're going to kind of hold until council and staff review the FY23 budget. And when it gets adopted, if this project is part of that, we'll go ahead and move forward right-of-way acquisition, which again would be those 6 parcels. There's some easement or right-of-way. Sometimes we get our sidewalks in right-of-way if they're open to that. If not, we have to put it in a PED, pedestrian easement. So then we'd move, and then we could also construct it. Again, we're looking out next year at the earliest it would be constructed if it does get funded, and we're looking at possibly constructing it with the trail project. So as the contractor that builds the Greenville Loop Section 2 and Section 3, they would build this sidewalk as well. But we would design it in-house and also do the right-of-way acquisition in-house, which could save us about $150,000 doing all that in-house. So, the project budget is $960,000 right now. It's a little over a quarter mile, but pretty expensive for a quarter-mile sidewalk, but that's kind of the sidewalks you're left with right now in some of these really tight corridors and busy corridors. They get expensive with all the impacts that you have to take into account. So really, again, this is just an update for you guys on the project. I just want to take any questions as we're kind of in in-house design right now.
The focus of what we're talking about here this morning is strictly the sidewalk. We're not talking about anything with the trail.
Yeah, the trail is on its own schedule.
Yes, sir.
Its own, yep.
Good.
That's right.
And this additional $961,000 that's over and above any trail cost.
Correct.
That's a completely separate budget.
Yep.
okay? And the signalized intersection, that will be a fully functioning signal, not a
Yes,
hawk
sir.
signal or anything like that, fully functional.
Yeah, during the Phase 2, that's actually in the Section 2 project of the Greenville Loop Trail, we looked at a hawk signal, which was just a pedestrian-activated signal. But it was so close to that existing driveway, we said, let's go ahead and just put a kind of a simple, standard wooden pole signal there, but have the pedestrian-activated button, and that's pretty much what we'll operate it, to be honest with you. Now, obviously, when the school's letting out there, they could use it at that point, but other than that, like during the weekends and during the off-school times, that signal will be green for the most part until, the trail traffic. Obviously, when we build this trail, we're going to have a lot more traffic, pedestrian traffic, so they would be controlling that
I just
signal.
want to make sure it's something that's going to stop cars.
Oh, yeah. Stop bar, red light, whole 9 yards. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Can you help me understand how the two of them interface, the sidewalk and the trail? Are they both on the south side?
The trail will, the trail comes down the south side right here, if you can see my hand there on the aerial. And then it's going to get to this proposed signal that I was just discussing.
Right.
The trail will cross the road right there on, I guess that's the north side, that intersection. Then it goes along the north here. The trail will go on the north, where there's an existing sidewalk today. So this sidewalk is on the south side.
So
and
it's
it's
by itself?
it is.
Yeah, okay, great.
Yes.
Just wanted to confirm that. Thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, that's all we have for you. We do have a request for a closed session following this.
Okay, very good. I'm going to read the closed session. I'm going to ask for a motion to go into closed session to enter into a closed pursuant to the provisions of the General Statute 143-318.11 A and 3 in order for the City Council to, number one, consult with the City Attorney regarding potential legal claims. Do I have a motion? Motion made by Councilmember Waddell, seconded by Councilmember Barnett. All ready to vote? Mayor Pro Tem, how do you vote? Aye. Okay. Councilman Reinbark, how do you vote? Councilmember Anderson, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Barnett, how do you vote? Councilmember Spears, how do you vote? Councilmember Spears? Kevin? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, Councilmember Waddell, how do you vote? And then Chair is-
But you could also say
Chair
with
is out.
some real certainty that if you were to drive around the neighborhood,
Okay, very good. Somebody just came into our system. Maybe it came from Thalian Hall. Anyway, we're going to go into closed session now.
Mr. Mayor, would you just, for the record, announce that it'll be closed down there in the other room and we won't be coming back upstairs?
Okay, we're going to be reconvening in the city manager's conference room now, and we will not be reconvening here in the main room, City Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
We will adjourn from the city manager's conference room. Okay, thank you. With that, we will now go into closed session.